Alright, we are on Bay. Takes Two to Mango have gone for the Byzantines. Butts have gone for the Italians. This is the quarterfinal match. For bracket 4, we're looking at 900 average ELO. Quarterfinal match. Whoever wins this goes on to the semis. Both teams have played really well. I've had the privilege of covering both of these teams coming into the quarterfinals. Impressed with both teams and how they operate. For anyone who doesn't already know, the Dual Domination tournament format is you've actually got 2 players per team. 2 players are controlling each civilization. That allows you to have more actions per minute, of course, and 2 players instead of 1. Double the actions per minute in theory. So you can manage your economy, you manage your army, you can allocate players to whatever you want them to do. There's a lot of communication and coordination needed between the 2 players. And these 2 teams have done it well. Again, I like to shout out organizers whenever I'm first opening these series because they picked really good maps for this. Bay being a really good map pick because you've got a bit of water, you've got some, you could allocate a player just to focus on water as you're focusing on the economy at home, and then you've kind of got this expansion out. You could have one player focus at home, you could have another player focus on expansion. You know, there's any which way you could do it, but I think the tournament organizers have been really conscious of, if we have 2 players per team, we need to make sure the maps make sense to have 2 players control a server at any one time, and I think Bay does that well. But here we go. We've got Takes Two to Mango there first on the dot here. A lot of fish in the middle, talking close to 2,000 food. It's a lot of food. You don't want to give that up. You don't want to let somebody have that for free. So you really do have to try and take this or contest this. The Italians player coming over to build their dock, so we are both on water. Italians obviously have the cheaper fishing ships. They've got a very good navy. You see them very often on water or hybrid maps. This villager's gonna get out of here. I think he knew that the scout was there. Scout just misses that opportunity to get that villager. That villager doesn't have loom, so that really could have been a sticky situation, a kill situation. We have Takes Two to Mango got their scout out here. We had Butts pushing in deer. Which we might have already done here on the side of Takes Two to Mango. I'm not seeing any deer on their side. So perhaps both teams have already done that. I missed that in the intro. But a good clean start here for both players. Both teams, sorry, I keep on saying players, but of course, these are teams. Scout's having a little look around to see what the economy balance is. Obviously quite heavy on wood, as you would expect on this map. We are housed, but loom was gotten and went up to feudal. Actually, we didn't get loom, we skipped it, we cancelled it because we wanted to get to feudal first, which, you know, that's a potentially good decision because whoever gets to feudal first does have the advantage on the fire ships, and it's going to be coming in at pretty much the same time for both players. So remember, no loom, and they're not looking, and that village is going to die. Oh, I think he could even die for that. Was that calculated? If it was calculated, oh my god. What is this lady doing? she wanted to die. She literally wanted to die. Literally giving the enemy a village a kill. 1 hit point. Obviously not ideal. That was fun. And I think we're looking for revenge now, maybe a bit of frustration on the side of Butts there. But we've got a fire galley coming out. Should have the second one fairly soon. There we go. And Butts is going to have the advantage in numbers there. Which is good to see from their part. You know, you don't want to spend any time building walls at this stage. You really got to sink all your resources you can into water at this point. And just forget about land, but who gets the first hit? It is the Byzantine player. Obviously Byzantines get really good fires, so the Italian player is gonna have to do their best to keep the numbers up and, you know, not get too distracted with the fishing ships. Yeah, we've got repairs on. Takes 2 to Mango. Love that. Bit of good micro there. And yeah, if you can take out a ship, then obviously you limit the potential for repairs. This is a really close water battle right now. And I think the Byzantine player might be eking this out a bit, but that's going to be... Oh, okay. You've got to be careful when you go to the opponent's docks. That's a ship down for the Byzantine player. And we've got repairs coming out, but good control here, you know, knowing when to go back, when to push out. And we're even going for a demo rough, which I love. Scout battle in the corner, Butts wins that. Just got to target the fishing ships now, you know, I think you want to damage as many of these as possible. Maybe could have waited a little bit longer, but if this lands, you know, this could turn the tide. Here it comes. And it's causing retreats, which is in favor of Butts. Thank you so much for the subscribe there. Missed a scout somehow. Don't know quite what happened there during that. But we're going to go triple dock. We really want to win water right now. The Italian player kind of sitting on this right now. I think you might want to press the action, but I think you kind of just commit with this demo at some point. You've got it. You might as well use it. I don't know what's stopping you necessarily. He's not necessarily fanning out or anything like that, so he just wants the perfect shot, and that was not the perfect shot. He didn't even get into the group of units that he wanted to, but he's killed quite a few ships here, so there is a lot of attention being played on which ship to target. Demo raft coming out of this dock, so this could be bad, but all of the ships are basically down. 3 repaired villages. That's a lot of resources, yes, but split those ships up, please, sir. They have split, and we've got no production on the side of Butt, so that is going to be Water 1 for the Byzantine player. However, I don't mind it for Butts at all, because that team is transitioning away to land, and to be fair, the economy's not looking too bad on thanks to the mango. But look at the resources. Look at the resources. He's going to be at the castle real soon once this market goes down. We obviously need enough wood for a blacksmith, which I'm going to expect to be coming down now. No, we're going to go archery range. That's fine. I don't mind that. Because we have the barracks already. We want to go into archers as Italians. That is totally fine. And we have 6 fire galleys who will now be pretty much useless, and there's only 300 food on water. So I think that's really well timed. I think that is actually really well timed for Butts. We are kind of walled, but not really. You'd have to wall off back here, build a gate here, expand up here, and I think you're looking pretty good. Thanks to the mango, we have houses with a coast view. Property prices here in the Byzantine Empire a little bit higher than the Italian Empire. It's both kind of Roman, I guess. Byzantines, I guess, are Turkish or Anatolian, or however you want to kind of call that. But these houses, they're in the fields. They are not in tourist coastal central. But Butts is going to go for fletching. We're already producing archers. This is one thing Takes Two to Mango love to do. They love a watchtower. It does cost stone, so it is an investment, but not a bad investment. We don't have the stone for second TC. If I remember correctly, Takes Two to Mango loves a boom, so they might focus on a boom. We're focusing on this big crossbow power spike as the Italians, and let's see what they can do with it. Stable as well. Not sure about the stable, not sure about wheelbarrow, town watch. We're getting all the town centre upgrades, and that means we're not researching, or we're not producing villages during this. We've got super efficient villages. Villages with a lot of line of sight, but that is causing that villager discrepancy. And this has been scouted out by Spear. And they shouldn't be too distracted by that, otherwise they're gonna waste their power spike. Don't want to chase that. Let it be. But loving the second town centre. Loving that this archer mass is coming forward. Going for a preemptive tower, which is, yeah, fair enough, but you've got a lot of space to cover, I would say. A couple of skirmishers out ready. And they're going to go into elite skirm. Lemon Toaster says this map was supposed to be included on the Scrappy Lemons League and didn't add it. I mean, hey, you can only add so many maps, eh, Lemon Toaster? I think there are about 20, so I don't think there's a lack of map choice, although I do definitely like this map. We're going to find that there is no opening. You can still get through a gate quite well. Good to take out or kind of snipe you know, reinforcements along the way. Skirmishers are kind of just chilling in the base. House deleted so skirmishers can pop out. But this is the wrong gate to tackle if you know that a tower is there. You want to get in this one. I guess you could sneak through the back here with minimal fire, but I think it's too late. I think it is too late. Yeah, great point, Lemon Toast, that, you know, the cheap skirms for Byzantine are, you know, not ideal for Italians. You do have to worry about demo ships. You know, I think the Byzantines should think about that. Imagine if you popped out a demo right now. Like, this is risky. You know, just chill. Just chill. I love that the fires are being taken out. Loving the night production. Exactly what you need in this situation. For skirms, you need to disengage here. Scorpion, you know, just go mangonel, I would say. Don't think about it too much. You've got the actions per minute to coordinate mangonels. You know, I always have trouble with mangonels because I got to put my attention elsewhere, but you got 2 players, so that's not an issue. Redemption coming out for takes 2 to mango. That's going to be great against siege. So this is interesting stuff, and nice as well, actually. And I'm loving this. I'm loving this from takes 2 to mango. It's quite impressive. They're not even going to target them, fun, or are they? Very unlucky that we didn't see any conversions there. That was, you know, that I think they've done everything right here, and it hasn't panned out. We're not targeting the mangonel for some reason. Now we are. Those skirms are gone. A couple of skirms in the tower. Knights in the base. Limited army, although apparently we are hiding. Well, that's a few skirms there, a few skirms in the tower. That's going to be knight converted, so that's going to stop the bleeding. But these players, you know, they're onto it. We're doing a switch into light cav. The base at home is looking incredible. Look at this base. Look at these farms. That's going to be perfect for light cav. And we're even kind of building up a little mini base that is going to stop expansion potentially. But the amount of skirms is just redonkulous, and gonna have to be careful with those knights. the knight, the monk going for the siege there was ambitious. But he gets it now. Very smart to keep the archers close to the mangonel, but now you're left with not much. This is good damage on the skirms, but obviously no death. Just damage. And if you've kind of got more and more monks to heal them up, then is it truly worth it? So I would stop with the skirms, I'd go with the mangonels. You can kill the skirms and the monks. Don't even try this if you're Butts. But I should say that Butts has only been on 2 TCs throughout all of this, and we've been on pretty steady 3 TCs for a while here from Butts, and we're nearly up to a castle. Here come knights and light cav. Archers are quite far away. This is going to be good to some extent here for Butts. Do get some conversions though, so that's not ideal. Here come the skirms, the scorpions. They go down pretty quick. Again, I think mangonels were probably the play, and it's just skirms. Oh, and we're actually trying to convert. What happens if you convert a building with units inside? I'm not sure. I'd pop them out right now to just kill the monk. Yeah, the units pop out. But that sucks for Butts. This is high level. This is really good play to take to the mango. I know that they got 2 plates, so the attention is really good, like double the actions per minute, but you know, I question, am I even at this level? Because I'm impressed. Archers come around the side. I think this is what they should have been doing, maybe even a little bit earlier to bring the skirmishers away. Really love that. We are up into Imperial. We do have a castle at home. And the investment into skirms has been, I'm going to say ridiculous, because do you ever really want to have that many skirms? Like, it has been working, I guess, but you know, that's a lot of food and a lot of wood, and that's the reason why Butts are up to Imperial and why they're kind of on the way to being able to produce calves that have really good upgrades. I guess it's been enough to hold, and maybe you should be happy with that. I don't know. I just think I prefer Butts' position in this point. I could be wrong. They are threatening. But if we put more and more stables down, which is exactly what we're doing, we do get, and you know, Italians love facade, right? They have good facades. It's almost a unit you want to get to if you're Italians. And rating potential obviously very good. Are they going to just be split out? What are they going to do when they see a castle? And they're not in, well, they're going up to Imperial. Castle's being put down here on the side of Take to the Mango. conscription and then trebs. I love that, you know, really amp up that production. Camels though, also cheap for Byzantines, could be a great option. Grouped up Hussar, you need to split them out, of course. Good to at least get the siege off the floor, and skirm's obviously not going to be great in that situation. TC there, we're making sure we continue to expand. I would slip some of these to be annoying down the bottom. That's exactly what he's doing, that's credible. Really good stuff. You know, these Hussars have great armor right now, so they're getting a lot of damage in, even under castle fire. So I wouldn't be too concerned there. Just gotta pop them in the back there. There was a conversion, but now it's got to target the monk. They're still gonna be fine against the limited amount of camels. We've got villagers idle, forcing heavy camel rider. If that happens, then we can go straight back into archers. This hasn't been properly dealt with. It will be dealt with eventually by the town sector, but you're not collecting resources for such a long time in both of these PCs, and you know, these Hussars are just cleaning up the camels. Heavy camel rider has only just come in, and this is too many Hussars to deal with. Meanwhile, we've got trebs on this castle that is being repaired. That's a resource thing. We're at 150 villages for bucks. So it's gonna stall out now. However, Butts is definitely on the front foot. We've got Cavalier. We're back on water for some reason, which is interesting, I would say. We need more trebs. Definitely need more trebs. Actually, we've got the third, and that's going to probably make all the difference. You know, and if we get all these skirmisher numbers down, we can go straight into Genoese crossbow. Camels are going to try and snipe trebs. It's not what they're great at. You know, they'll probably do it. Yes. However, they're not great against archer fire. And I think it's a waste of resources, if I'm being honest. Ram trying to take up trebs, that's what they're good at, but you can see it from a mile away. And seeing the camels and the amount of camel, and seeing heavy camel, I do hope they go into Genoese crossbow if this game goes on for too much longer. But look at the resources. You can win just purely on resources by this point. I think we're thinking maybe about a castle, but that wouldn't have been wise. I think you can take that fight. And look at the upgrades on these camels. They're heavy camels, but they're not good heavy camels. Only going into chain barding armor now. And look at this map control at the back. Very, very nice. You know, an overboom, you know, that could bite them in the butt. Potentially. However, the amount of villager kills that have been gotten right now, and looking at the resource pool of takes to the mango, I think they'll be in the death throes of the game right now. There's nothing that can do. They're going for Bracer. I don't know why. Camel stalled that part out, however... Yeah, I think they should have just kept on investing in military, and I think we might have even killed some of our own villagers because of the overburn. Was definitely an overburn. You know, if they had a little more military on the floor, this game would have been over. But we're going into Galleon as well. This is very unnecessary. Don't need to invest in, but you know, Doc was taken out, apparently. And this is a waste of resources for sure, but taking out skirms is good if you want to keep going to archers, and we do have 11 Genoese crossbowmen up here. But we have overburn. This is how you let the other team back in the game. As you overburn, the other team have more military on the floor. They've barely got enough resources to keep it together though. These Genoese crossbowmen have been forgotten about. So the ability to close out the game is eluded, but it played so well up until this point. The focus on water, not necessary. You know, losing units unnecessarily. We are forcing war galley on water. So we're still fighting over water even though there are no fish. We've only got 4 fishing ships. So that's pretty funny. Basically these 4 Hussar can take out a bunch of skirmishers, but it's not the critical mass you need. But maybe we're content just to take out this castle for now. Camels are going to come up. Archers are going to follow. So, don't think that's going to happen, especially because we've got ballistics. So, good response here from Bucks. Still on 150 villages, and our resources are insane. You know, if I'm being honest, have I ever been up to 150 villages before in my life? No. No, I haven't. However, it is just a matter of time. Skirmishes have been a persistent issue though. But that number is finally coming down. Houses might become an issue if this seaside strip gets demolished. And Arb against skirms. You know, skirms are obviously counter unit, but if you've got a number of Arbs like this, it becomes tricky. Gonna try again to snipe Trebs. But Butts is on it. He's not going to get distracted away from this. I mean, just think of the number of... Think of how much stone has been sunk into castles for it takes to the mango. And as Lemon Toaster rightly said, the rest collected difference is absolutely insane. We're only producing counter units on the side of Byzantines, and that is the strong suit, 100%, but you're not going to be able to do that forever. And have we gone away from Cav? Because I'm not seeing... Cav was a good choice for the skirms. And we have gone away from it, and this castle actually has been found out. And oh, look at the castles. Castle mess here. We're actually at equal military. If only we had more military on the floor, more military potential. You know, these villagers dying is actually a blessing, I would say. But the military is certainly decreasing for Take to the Mango. The resources are not necessarily there to replenish, so this castle's down, castle got here, this castle went down. More villages will go down again, blessing in disguise. At this point of the game, when you have this amount of resources, bombard cannons just sitting in the siege workshops. The population cap to Take to the Mango in terms of houses has drastically decreased. You know, some of this military population has sunk into water as well. For some reason, Take to the Mango does not want this castle to go up. I would say it's basically irrelevant at this point to risk it there, but what else can you do with it? You have gold, but you've only got 13 on food right now, and that's because we've probably been relentlessly raiding. And this should just progressively push forward. And there's the GG. That castle never went up, which is really funny. So there we go. Should mention that this is a replay on... This replay was taken before the patch. So I guess that's the reason why we didn't get an overview screen. We just got the game over, but there's always the possibility that some of these recordings don't work. However, there's nobody in the draft here from the changed civilizations, I think. Could be wrong. But that one went smoothly, and butts, pull it out. Pull it out of their butt, I would say. Really good game, and you know, the cheaper counter units for Byzantines was incredible, but can you win the game solely on counter units? You know, do you need to get some cataphract in there or something like that? Don't know if you can go straight counter units. It's probably works from time to time, of course, but I think Butts had the right strategy. You know, the archers going to the cab for the skirm, you know, and making sure that that balance is there between those two units. Really well played. Really well played. All right, so we are on Copenhagen. It's regicide, so you each have a king. Whoever kills the king first wins. Map is Copenhagen. You've kind of got this arena style, as we've seen a couple of times now already in this competition. But you also have water. So it's that, I keep on saying it over and over, it's that weird combination of hybrid / closed that I just don't know if there is another map like that. I'm sure there is, but none comes to mind. I think it's very unique in that way. But yes, this is game 2. Butts have won the previous game. And we have Goths on Takes Two to Mango. Haven't seen them much, or at all, on this tournament setting thus far. But the late game for Goths is obviously incredible. We actually have Jinska in the chat, so if Jinska has any non-spoilers but interesting tidbits, we'll be looking to him for that. So King's obviously very fast. Don't quite know the logic of that because they're obviously quite fat, quite rotund. For whatever reason, the wolf respects the king and does not attack, so he has authority over the forests. But we're not exploring with the king on the side of Butts, we're just chilling in the castle. He's got a chill life. He doesn't need to explore. Oh, hang on. Okay, it takes two to Mango. Says, look at the score, resign already, haha. So it's only got 200 different. But I'm sure it's all said in good fun. Both players out on water, and that's purely because of the scouting. If we look at the scouting for Takes Two to Mango, much less. It's because they're not exploring with their king. However, these are fighting words. Whenever these fighting words do come out, I do love to see a bit of karma. Strike back. But I don't know if I'm going to see it because the feudal age here for Takes Two to Mango is far ahead of Butts here. They have 800. They had 800 gold in the bank. 800 food in the bank. Sorry, which is much more than you actually need, of course. But maybe they're going for some kind of fast castle. Again, not sure about that because they're only going up to gold now. Double docks fire galley, so I'm already going to call it that water is in the hand of the Goth player. And where fishing, the fire galley just coming out now, it's going to go straight over, so that's positive to see. The second one is on the way pretty quickly, but not expecting any more soon after that. Blacksmith. Oh, it's probably going to be Blacksmith Market, I would assume. Only in feudal now, and we haven't gone to fire ships immediately, so even going straight into demo raft, I think that's probably a losing play. Second fire galley on the way. Repairing fishing ships, you know. Or even yeah. I have to have a decent size of boats to make that work to hit, you know, so this is desperate stuff. This villager is having an absolute hernia trying to repair these boats, which does cost wood. So these boats go down anyway. He sunk more wood into repairing them. than you probably should have. And now your fishing boats are dead, and you're still investing in fire galleys. We have targeted the dock, so there's going to be no automatic response. However, there should be an advantage there to kill that fire galley, but again, you're going to sink more resources into water by repairing. You know, maybe you win or bring to a stalemate water. Again, is it actually worth it? And the boat is gone. Next one comes out. That's gonna be a loss. Save that fire galley. Takes 2 to Mango is absolutely killing it, but you know, this is a dock block, as they call it. You obviously, one ship can fire past the dock, the other one can't. It's a weird little interaction in the game, but makes it kind of interesting. One advantage for having water control is to have control over this little entry point. That's being targeted. Boat's going to get hit. So more needs to be invested in water. During Castle Age, we could see the war galley upgrade. I forget that Goth research loom immediately. That caught me off guard. But we have 4 fire galleys right now. And when these fire galleys get over here, they're gonna have to turn tail and run. There we go. That's gonna be a problem. Fire ship down. Gotta give up on water now. I think that's the white flag on water. We've only had 1 dock this entire time. However, during all that, we've got 2 TCs up. Still only 1 TC up here for takes 2 to Mango. Probably going to look to take this dock out and then target that wall. Ooh. Okay, so we're not going double TC or triple TC. We're going straight into Huskals and we want to raid the base. Got 7 pierce armor. We don't even have fletching on the Vietnamese player. So when these Huskals get through, that's gonna be tough to combat. Return archers aren't gonna do it, probably. You need a stable, I guess. We do have stable, we've got a scout cavalry coming out. I think Huskals can deal with that. Loving the strategy here from takes 2 to Mango. I guess if there's one good thing is that this is going to be this little outpost, I guess, is going to be scouted out. He did see the Huskal. Doesn't know how many Huskals there are. And he has seen the siege workshop. Transport ship. I was just going to say, forget about busting through the wall, just go around. That's exactly what he's going to do. Now that there's no threat on water. This is brilliant. This is... I think he might expect it though. Is this going to be a good enough? No. Response hasn't occurred. They were thoughtful enough to think about it. But it doesn't matter. You know, they're not going to get that many villager kills. We're even going to get more pierce armor on this. elephant comes out, that's what you need, but to have enough economy to produce enough elephants is, I'm going to say, highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Yeah, I think you just try and take those out. You've got enough Huskarls to do it. And you're just going to be so annoying, causing so much idle time, I reckon. Elephant is a great call. Meanwhile, we've got Rams with more Huskarls coming in. So this, you think of the Huskarl Zerg rush much later in the game, but we've just increased the timing on that so that the Vietnamese player can't burn. Villager tried to save himself. No mercy shown there. And res collected, even though the villager count is equal, it doesn't matter because we're causing so much idle. Rams are going to come in and take out these town centers. Pikemen in support. These guys are killing it with the strategy. This is incredible stuff with the strategy. But Rams obviously need to be protected. More repairs on the town centre. Again, how many... I want to know the stat of how many resources have been committed to repairing. Because if we look at res collected and then also add on the repair costs for a lot of this stuff, and it's rough. It's real rough. Bringing in pikemen here. These pikemen have chainmail. So we just need some more support units here. And we have enough units to deal with army. And we're just keeping butts confined. Now we're actually going to take up stable, which, it's not a terrible idea. Get rid of more production buildings, so... I think we're going to pop out here. And villagers trying to take out rooms, it's always a bit rough because your villagers are going to die. And just the villager decimation right now is insane. Villagers pop out. There was going to be a castle on the face of butts. I've said that before. It's not a good phrase, but there we go. Takes two to mango, evens up the score. Very well played. That was very nice. Jinska said, I'm here but working as well. Oh, I know the feeling. I know the feeling well. That was a good game. And I just love the goth pick. The goth pick was just, yeah, you don't see it often enough. That was played in a really unique way. Playing for the Castle Age timing, not the Imperial timing. Committing to the 1 TC. Really came in with a game plan, I think, and executed it really well. Alright, we are in game 3. We're on Morass. Is this Morass? Yes, this is Morass. You've got the fish, you've got the wood in the middle. So, good pick here for starts with the Dravidians because of the fish collecting bonus. I think that villagers have a greater carrying capacity for fish. I think that's what we're thinking there with Dravidians. Armenians, I mean, are we thinking longsword rush? That's what I would be expecting here for takes 2 to mango. Yeah, one apiece. First to 3. We're chilling as Dark Age. Actually, I think why we're thinking Armenians, it takes 2 to mango, is the mule cart. You can just ship this around all fish. Otherwise, you have to build so many mills along here and waste a lot of resources on camps. So that will certainly help. That's a really unfortunate boar in the generation, and good on Butts for committing to it still by using the scout. You know, if it was me, I would have given up. I'd be like, oh well, I guess I only have one boar. But they didn't do that, so I commend them for that. And you know, you could go the other way, of course, and the players would say that they wanted a rescript, and I think that's justifiable. But I never like to do a replay because it throws your opponent off. As much as the boar is annoying, you want to have pretty good sportsmanship for the other players and make sure you're not wasting their time, or you know, they might have had a particularly good start. You don't want to throw them off that too much. So we've got boars under the TC. Timing wasn't quite there. You know, went for that boar a little early. But that's fine. Actually, can you collect fish with a mule cart? I know you can collect deer, and I guess all food is considered equal. But I would be interested to just confirm that. But look at this. Look at this mill placement. This is great. All this fish here. And the carrying capacity is really going to help. So if you're fishing way out here, you've got less trips back and forth. So the videos might be underrated on this map. I didn't really think of them for this map. Here comes the barracks. So maybe thinking men-at-arms, here's the militia, love that. You can contest fish, you can contest goats, sorry, deer, or ibex actually. But are we actually going to be able to do anything, especially because only one militia has been produced so far? You know, it's just delaying your feudal time at this point. So I don't know if this has been executed well. You want to produce your militia on the way up to feudal. And wow, look at this. We're actually in 2 militia already for Butts. So it's militia versus militia. It's a standoff around the ponds. It's 3 to 2, but there's a scout involved. It's a fight out on the marshlands. Got 2 good hits on that scout. Gonna get another. We've got our own scout involved. Now remember, militia aren't great against large groups of villagers. You know, villagers can definitely take down militia, so this is ill-advised. It's just throwing them away at this point. Because that's too many villagers. So if you wait until feudal, which we still haven't gone up to. Oh no. Oh, and we've produced 2 more militia. We're producing another Dark Age barracks. Oh, we've committed to this. We've committed to the strength of militia. We're so far away from feudal. And Dravidians are going to hit feudal in 20 seconds. These are going to become men-at-arms, potentially. And when they do, there's going to be trouble, and men-at-arms comes through immediately. So they're going to retreat, and then they're going to turn around in about 20 seconds time. So this is a Mexican standoff, or should we say a Dravidian standoff. And there are those men-at-arms. We're walling behind this. But oh no, we just through. And this is going to be carnage. You know, if we could even get a barracks down, that would be amazing. Not great pathing, not great focus here. Oh, so it's disaster all round. I mean, the micro there was atrocious. But we're still not in feudal for takes to the mango. So wow, what an open. What an open. In a way, I can't quite believe what I'm seeing. You know, I don't think I've ever seen double barracks in Dark Age. And we're going into men-at-arms for Armenia, then we have... How many men-at-arms? We're going to have 9 men-at-arms. Meanwhile, we have archers on the floor for the Dravidians. And that's going to come up to 5. We have no armor. Oh, so I think this is going to be a nightmare. Especially because we're going up the castle now. Like, I get it, these are going to be long swords, but I don't know. This is wild stuff. If this works, you know, I'll be kicking myself. And if you're on the side of Butt5, I mean, you'll be thinking, what on earth is going on? What on earth is going on? You know, I don't even think he micro this, I think he just runs. Although some of those longswords are pretty low. Tower goes up. Longswords have to retreat. You know, I've seen longsword Armenians quite a few times, and I know infantry is strong. However, I just haven't seen it work. I mean, I just have not seen it work. And the economy here is very poor. I get it, we have fish back here, but you know, we're pushing back longswords with feudal archers, and they're going to be crossbow. You know, you've got to hold on to these archers for sure. One player should be just microing these 24/7. Bodkin's going to come in. I will say, the villager count, well, that's because we're in castle. That's why the villager count is quite different. Going for university, I'm thinking ballistics. Ballistics on 5 archers, you know, it's gonna be enough. We're still quite far away from even going up to castle. I would be thinking of trying to boom like crazy if I was Dravidians, knowing that my opponent isn't in castle yet. You know, we are seeing the bonus here for infantry really take shape as these longswords can run away. And more longswords are coming in, and they're going to harass these archers, and that hasn't been noticed. And don't micro while you're in hit range, I would say. Trapped in the corner here with this line. Line goes down. One archer holding the fort. Ballistics coming through. Once ballistics come through, you know, these longswords have no chance. However, we haven't really taken advantage of the boom. The boom potential. And we have 8 archers. 8 archers that now cannot miss. Going for another archery range. This is exposed back here, so dare I say it, this is somewhat working. I say somewhat working, but I don't know. Even just having 10 archers on the floor as compared to 10 longswords, you know, I think that's quite a good difference. But we are booming behind this now. Thanks to the mango. We haven't started booming. We're really committed to archery upgrades. We might have committed too far. We are in the base though. And this is one way to get villager count back. Missing some of those villager shots though. We're forcing towers too. So that's going to put them behind in terms of resources. Another tower forced. Don't need that tower because we got the town centre. So causing a bit of panic. We're not concerned about these longswords anymore, and nor should you be. Don't know why we're going into skirms. I guess we have seen an archery range go down, but who cares at this point? Lion v Tiger. I mean, Tiger versus Longsword is what I was supposed to say. I was going to say there's probably a gap in here, which hasn't been paid attention to. It's trying to get the block. That was ambitious, but I love the effort. But yeah, it takes 2 to mangoes. I can't believe I'm saying it, but they might have actually, you know, the mind games have forced them into a better position in terms of their boon. And their res clicks is actually a little bit higher. Yes. Going into the second TT finally. That really should have come a little bit earlier. And these villagers can't do anything. However, the military count highly in favour. You know, these archers have ballistics and they're firing at the very edge of their range, which means that they're not actually getting these kills. They just need to get a little bit closer and then they've got them. And these towers are doing the business. Which is absolutely crazy. Yeah, you just need to run around. I know it's annoying, but you need to link these two groups together again. But we have caught up in terms of villages. We have the upgrade. We've got the units that we want. So I think we're back to an even game, if not even. Leaning in favour of Butts. Which is good. Good for them. I don't want to see this this Armenian strategy work. Because it's pure cheats. Like, nothing against takes two to mango, of course, and you know, I do love a preconceived strategy going into a game, so in a way I'm pretty happy that they've chosen this path, but it's just not a good strategy. It's my only thing, you know what I mean? Oh, what is this castle? Why would you put a castle there? I mean, you're basically protecting nothing. Like, yeah, you're gonna, maybe this archers loop back around the back, but all you need to do is put a house there and you're protected. Whereas, when this castle comes up for Butts, I'm sure it's gonna be right here, stopping any possibility for outward expansion this way, putting pressure on down here. You know, we're looking at armored elephants for a push, and this castle is going to be further away from where that push is going to happen. These archers will be taken out. That's fine. So we're going to be in pretty quick. Got the stone for a castle. You know, you could push on that side, defend the castle on this side. That wouldn't be horrible. But yes, this is what I do prefer. Put the castle here. I love that a lot. Scorpions again, I mean, we do love scorpions, but oh, haven't seen guard tower in a long time. You know, no faffing about. Like, let's not faff about, shall we? Oh no, he's getting. They're getting They're getting aggressive. This is a threat. I mean, come on. This is a threat. Don't do this. Please. You've fudged it. You've completely fudged it. And again, I don't mean to be harsh at all, but that's pure greed. That's pure greed. Now you've got a mangonel out here. Castle has to be ditched. Oh, if the castle just went here, deny this wood line, you can come through here, you can mount your next attack. It's just way too greedy, way too greedy. And now we're going to go for a defensive castle. I mean, fine. It's 100% fine, but you know, the greed just got to him. And even gifting a scorpion kill here and there as well. But it's fine. We do have Imperial on the way. We've got 3 TCs. We're booming behind them. The villager count is nice with Dravidians. It's going to be an issue the other side though, which is completely unprotected. You know, the fish boom has come to an end now. Interesting to see what Butts choose as their unit composition going forward. Seems to have gone into a lot of skirms, and you know, Dravidian skirms are good. They are very good. And Armenians do love their archer play just as much as Dravidians. Going for a second blacksmith. So it's all about the doubles here. With double barracks in Dark Age takes 2 to Mega, but now we're going into double blacksmith. We want to really focus on our upgrades, but both these blacksmiths are not in use right now. It's 2 for 1 there, so never group up your mangonel. That's always a mistake. Castle goes up, tower is not functioning. Quite a lot of idle villagers just waiting around this castle, but they'll be put to work. Barracks going down. Again, guard tower is just not an upgrade I see all that often. And we need to be pushing the initiative here, and I love the addition of Arumi Swordsman. Yes, I love me some Arumi Swordsman. They're going to be great. It's what Takes Two to Mango has available. Against Scorpions, not in love. Especially if you're not massing them. Economy behind there is amazing. Arumis can come through back here as well. But we need to be pushing forward fairly soon, I would say. We're on stone back here, but no camp. So we're going to walk all the way to this camp over here. That will be recognized at some point. And the Arumis come out fast, they're speedy. And they can jump on this. I mean, they're going to jump on Mangonel. And now they're going to jump on Skirms. And we're seeing some Skirm Micro. Pretty good Skirm Micro too. But it's not going to last. And we're actually going to force the Arumis away. That's wild. That is absolutely wild. And we're forced to just continue taking out houses. And we've stopped producing Arumis as well. Which I don't know why. Yeah, not sure why. The really should be putting on a huge push right now. Should even be setting up a second castle as well. You know, take advantage of the spot while you've got it. You need to put a castle, support this trap push. We're only taking out the rest of these skirms right now, and you're not even going to win that battle. Oh, you know, it's clear that you need the next castle here, in my opinion. And here comes the composite bowman. Again, you can definitely pounce on that with the roomies. I'm going to get the TC to go down, and they've been left to die. I guess we're thinking we want to upgrade the roomies and then take a fight, but also you don't want to let these composite bowmen gather much strength. I guess we're thinking of a push around the other side too, so you know, we're going for a balanced approach. You don't want to overcommit there. You have enough stone for 2 castles. Again, the unit control not quite there. Could be done a little bit better, but you know, I know I'm coming off a little bit too critical. But I can feel it's in the grasp of Butt. It's in the clenches of the cheeks of Butt. And actually good scorpion hits right now, and repair villages at the same time, and these composite bowmen are actually going down, so this is the first major slippage I've seen from Take 2 to Mango, other than maybe strategy, but their micro has been pretty good, and their unit control has been pretty good. But that was a slippage. And we just need to see from Butt to really take hold of this game. You know, we had an overboom from them. Was it from them? And the other game, I do get my games confused. Here comes this castle. This is the castle that we needed a little while ago. And we're going to see it. PC was rebuilt, by the way, which is pretty funny. We're actually seeing Takes 2 to Mango is actually pushing on the side, kind of rebuffed some of those attacks. And Arunis have got closer distance, and they're actually going to take out some of these composite bowmen. So we'll push that to a stalemate probably. Meanwhile, this side is starting to come unstuck. Can nearly do another castle and maybe put a castle down here eventually. Can you fit one in there? That would be amazing. But you really need to push. Again, strategy on Butts has been better, I would say. But the unit control definitely has not. That has definitely been in the hands of Takes 2 to Mango. And they just really need to push the action on this side to make this a non-issue around this side. You know, this push has been too slow, too slow. And then they might need another castle back here, but Elephant Archer is what we're thinking. Okay. Sure, I don't mind that. Scout Cavalry. Can't go Scout and Elephant Archers. this is basically wasted resources right now. They're not being used. You definitely chase down some of these units. Or, I mean, you can get back here into the economy as well, if you wanted. You've got options. The elephant archers, high hit points against composite bowmen. I do like that strategic choice, but again, the unit control's just not here for these Marumi swordsmen. You've got to commit to something, whether it's chasing the composite bowmen or taking out the tread. They do make a decision in the end, and now they're going to take out some villages. Both players have, both teams have overburned again. We're looking at 140 for Dravidian players. And we've got skirms on the side of the minions, and you know, that's gonna stall out any elephant archer play. We do have light cav coming through. You need to pull these back. You cannot lose these elephant archers to skirmishes. Otherwise that's gonna be tough, but we're actually gonna dive skirmishes with the Roonies. So that is fine. You'll see that there's a castle there now, and should maybe build a castle and bring some troops or a siege workshop, or please just continue pushing this side. I mean, it's for the taking. I guess you've kind of kept them off middle wood, but it's not too much of an issue considering that there is wood at the back. Going into towers. Okay. Think you need another castle. Love this repair on the Scorpion taking out Thompson. Trib is sitting duck. So that will be stalled out. Going into mega skirms. So it's going to be skirm v skirm. You know, I haven't mentioned actually that the Dravidian stable is obviously atrocious. So the fact that that was even considered is wild. You know, this might be the only time we see Dravidian light cab ever produced by any player. But it's being produced here. And we've got a tower, and there are villages in it, and that's drawing all this attention. We've got Trebs taking out this castle. So this is pretty funny. I don't know why the attention for the units is here right now. This is obviously the sore point they need to defend. There's no chance of driving this castle back either. There's no potential even to take up this tower. You're just sitting under the tower if you take the Mango. So this is quite funny. Castle goes down on the side. Heavy Scorpion comes in as we're only seeing skirms and composite bowmen, but I only really have one castle to build composite bowmen from now. How many kills? This tower's got 14 kills. There would be more if these weren't skirms. You know, a really sort like a single Aruni swordman can absolutely wallop skirms. And for some reason we're going fight. Okay. Haven't seen a single cab on the floor for the Armenians, so that's an interesting choice. Certainly. gonna keep going into towers. These are just watchtowers, by the way. These are not guard towers like the Armenian players. These scorpions are on the other side of this wall. But this is not great, obviously. If heavy scorpion is... Yeah, yikes. That's not great. You need to keep your mass of composite bowmen, and that's a lot of damage on them. This has been driven back. Composite bowman numbers are low. Producing more archery range, so it's just trash. You're not going to be able to sustain it trash without access to more and more wood as well. But there is still plenty back here. And, you know, why we get Python, I'm not entirely sure. I guess navigating through these ponds with really slow siege is really tricky. But this could be a bloodbath. Yeah. I mean, the Armenian, they do hold their own, but again, this is a lot of damage that is not necessary. And Armored Elephants is a great shout because against the siege and against composite bowmen, you know, you can just run through the village. And what's Take 2 to Mango going to do? And it's just a crawl. A Rumi Swordsman coming again, and again that's going to be a problem. We're just throwing trips away. We're thinking of converting elephants, and that's a good strategy. So we're still pretty fresh on the side of Take 2 to Mango. They're still coming up with some potential solutions, but it's going to be siege on siege action. That trader elephant is going to go down. Two-handed swordsman coming out. Don't know if they're going to have the long-term goal to sustain that, or much of a base to sustain that either. But these games have been real grind fests. This could be their way back into the game. Is a sneaky play like this. You know, we do only have 8 on gold, so we're not thinking too much on economy. Going to keep for these towers. And here come the longswords, and they're just wandering around aimlessly, I would say. Lots of units being taken out. Look at the kill difference. There's like a 200 kill difference. And these elephants should come over and go to this castle eventually. And actually the Arumi swordsmen have found out what is behind here and killing villagers behind. Troops come forward to take out this castle. There's a lot of farms to seed all at once. That's quite funny. And once these castles are down, you can't produce any more composite bowmen. You can produce one more castle, but without the momentum, that's going to be tough. These traps are protected by feet now as well. Mad effort to repair. Even with that many villages, you're not going to be able to. Scorpions on these composite bowmen. lot of damage. You know, it takes a long time to build these up. Elephant archers and skirmishers on the Dravidian side, perfect combination. They're dead. This castle's going down. There's even a siege elephant on the back there. So that castle is dead skis. This is not going to go anywhere. GG is called. What a game. What an absolute game. Again, the need to take the initiative, you know, these games could be won a little bit quicker, but I am still really impressed by Butts. They're doing really, really well, and they're up 2-1. So they're killing. And loving this keep. The keep creep, I'm going to call it. You're creeping forward with keeps, and I've actually never seen Dravidian keeps or like this, the Indian civ keeps, because you just never see that technology researched, and they look really, really cool. All right, we are in game 4, quarterfinals, Dual Domination tournament. We are on Arabia, classic Arabia, Portuguese versus Saracen. Saracens, yeah, Butts are up 2-1. They've gone for the Saracens to try and close this out. We've gone Portuguese. It takes 2 to mango. You know, this is almost like a water civ matchup. And here we are on Arabia. Obviously, both civs have their strengths on land as well. Portuguese organ gun is absolutely insane. They have a pretty decent night rush as well. I love playing Portuguese myself. Your ability to take, to use that gold discount to get knights and on the floor and overwhelm is a really good strategy. Saracens, though, obviously have the camels, and they're very good camels. We've got the market play. If I'm being honest, Saracens are one of my least favourite civs. I just think they're the most generic, boring civs in the game. And I know that's probably not a popular opinion. I know a lot of people love Saracens. That's just a personal opinion of mine. But I hope they lose. No, I don't hope they lose. Let's see what the Saracens can do here against a very well-rounded Portuguese civ. But we've scouted the chickens, and there are 7 chickens, so that's a lot of food. It's about 500 food. Actually, Takes 2 to mango just missed out on getting those goats. That would have been really good win there. But yeah, let's see what these players do with chickens. Do we mill them? Do we hunt them? Do we contest them? Do we do a men-at-arms rush and contest? Maybe. I'm going to make this more accurate. Has to be something like that, right? I forget the order, but it wasn't 2 in a row. It's been 1 apiece and then 2-1 up. Actually, underrated Portuguese with their wood bonus on berries is a very good bonus. It's a really good bonus on water maps, so you can get ships out. But obviously, can be used across all maps and give you a bit of flexibility in your economy, give you a bit of an extra boost. You might want to contest this with men-at-arms, maybe. Highly possible. We're off to mill chicken. Milling chicken back here. I think that's right play considering there are 7 chickens. A lot of chickens. And there'll be a lot of walking if you didn't mill it. We haven't seen any of the sneaky strategy. I want to say cheating, because I think it's cheating, in my opinion, where you put the gates that funnel to your TC and you push the chicken into the gates, and for whatever reason they start running towards the TC. That's an exploit in the game that I think still currently exists. They might have taken it out by now, but I think it's still there. I think it's cheating. And just as we see these players, you know, do standard Arabia stuff, let's talk about that right now. Pro players. Pro players pulling off exploits. I think it's a phosphorus strategy, actually. He's very well known for coming up with very cheesy, exploitative strategies. I would say that he's beloved in the community because it's fun, and I would agree with that. I think it's pretty fun. But there's a little piece of me inside this is just like, this is wrong. This is not Age of Empires, and I'll make a good comparison. Basketball. So I'm a basketball player. Well, I was a basketball, very good basketball player as well. You know, players do whatever they can do to exploit the rules of the game. So whether it's selling fouls, you know, fooling the refs basically, you know, forcing them to make calls that are bogus. And there's a lot of that in basketball. Just like silly little chicken plays. You're exploiting the rules, exploiting things that aren't supposed to be in the game. And as a competitor, that just grinds my gears, you know. I just hate that so much. I hate that so much because, you know, if you're playing against somebody, you want it to be an even match based on what's in the rules, or what's in the norms of the game. And when you pull off cheesy, exploitative strategies, you create an unequal playing field that is just not supposed to be there, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And I don't know if it's being played in tournaments and that's been exploited in tournaments, or if that would be in the rulebook for tournaments, that you're not allowed to do that. Oh man, if I saw that in a tournament, I would absolutely hate it. But yeah, that's my little soapbox rant finished. Do not push chickens. Do not exploit pushing chickens both. For the love of God, don't do that. Okay, all finished, all finished. Going into a watchtower, so we loved the watchtowers in the previous game. Not a bad strategy because we're going into an archery range, but that archery range is actually for skirmishes. So that's because there's archers on the side of takes 2 to mango. So both having quite a defensive response to seeing the archery ranges. And we've got one archer, one spearman. That spearman should obviously be attacking the scout. So slight misplay there. We've got like literally going for the exact wrong units, but I think that probably came out even-ish, I would say. Obviously a little bit in favour of Butts there. But I think that was fine. A few things to tighten up there, but this gold is gonna be safe. You walled, This unit composition is not going to get in quickly. We've seen skirmishes and skirmishes, you know, let's see the reaction time here. This is not a good reaction time by either player as they walk past each other. Then it's going to be tough, but I think you just run at this point. I mean, you're facing skirmishes, don't even trade, like just literally run. Because whatever trade you're going to get, it's going to be bad. So double archery range is stable. I think that's a good shout. I don't, please don't trade. Do not trade. You know, I see this a lot. I see players really push the limits of what they should be doing, and I think more times rather than not, it kicks them in the butt. You know, if you're a hero or you're Viper and your micro is superb, then you're obviously entitled to muck around on the margins. You know, and could start, you know, just as I say it, you know, it starts working out. So, you know, what do I know? I'm obviously wrong. But, you know, it's a risky game to play. And if your opponent is decent, then he's not going to allow you to do that. Especially when you know you've got scouts on the way that can deal with skirms, which is not even getting involved, actually. Watches them all die and then decides to get involved. But Takes to the Mango does have a pretty firm control on this game. It's going to come up against more army though. And fletching is only just coming through for the Saracen player. So they have been at a range disadvantage as well, which is, it is worth noting. And, you know, if you can sit here with an archer mass like this, that's going to be a huge issue. And again, shooting right at the edge of your range does cause problems and actually hitting villages. But through with the scouts, you know, can come through now with the archers and taking off this gold. Not seeing moves to any other gold. You're going to see a move to inefficient wood lines. This should be supported eventually, but you know, don't have the units to really continue this push, I would say. But pretty decent micro, pretty decent. But yeah, again, mucking on the margins, really biting Takes to the Mango in the butt here because you're very clearly outnumbered. You just have to run. And you know, could have saved 2 more of your archers there, I reckon. And just a bit of greed. You know, we've got into bloodlines. I think you've secured enough damage that you can think about just focusing on castle right now. There's a lot of resources to focus on this push that's not happening. I mean, the push is being rebuffed. And now your opponent's up the castle quicker than you, even though you've had the advantage. So really need to focus on castle right now. That said, the resources are not looking particularly flash for Butts, even though he is up. you know, what damage are we kind of looking at here? For Butts, you know, he's come this way, he started attacking the gate, now he's moving back off that. Which, you know, that might be out of pure necessity because your base is under attack. Is there a gap there? No, there is. But this is going to be pretty hard to hold off archers and scouts. And we're up to castle. This is 17 archers, that's a lot. Do you still have to be careful because there are skirms in here? But we're through. There's gold back here. Being seen. Those villagers are gonna die. It could have been done a little bit better, 100%. We're on the hill. Love that. Pretty decent. Pretty decent. Enemy is in crossbow. You've got to run from that like the wind. They're going to be up to Bodkin. Got 14 archers. You only lost 3 archers. Do not hang around, please. Good. I think he's learned his. I think they've learned their lesson there. Because as soon as you got the castle, you can get Bodkin. Then you've got the numbers. You can add a few knights in there to deal with skirms. I think that's going to look pretty nice. The scale addition was also very nice. I really like that from Takes to Mango. Going second TC, going crossbow, going thumbring. Bodkin as well, so really leading into archers. I think it needs to be supported with a couple of knights eventually, but this is all fantastic. Siege is a good shout here from Butts. Scorpions or mangonels. Again, I'm not a huge fan of scorpions against archers. I think they're really good against siege. Infantry. The archers, you know, they're obviously good. This is going to be risky. I mean, I thought he was going to commit to it for a second, but where do you actually go? And I'm just seeing a lack of direction here from Butts in terms of what he should do. I think he thinks he wants to come through here, but then he doesn't commit to it, and doesn't commit to it for good reason. I mean, where does he want to go? He feels as though he has to do something. And now he's basically walking under a TC in this very compact base, losing all his army. Can't escape. He's going to get a lot of villages, but and that's the math out. So I guess it kind of worked for him, but he did lose a lot of villages in the process, and I think he probably lost quite a few villages in response. They've lost their units back home. Scouts are not supporting this, they're just, you know, killing villages on the back lines. You know, the scouts really should have been there to support. Even though they got real value. That's going to be dealt with eventually, maybe not right away. They're definitely going to be killed back here. Economy's in shambles. This knight is just birthing. It's basically just skirmishes at that point, and you know, skirmishes are absolutely horrible against knights. And this is just annoying, like, it's taking far too long to get this out of the base, and Scorpion not responded to, or not responded to well. These archers outranging the TC, it would seem. There is no more army back here. This army can now go forward. We've got a huge villager lead, so this is looking heavily in favour of Takes Two to Mango, and if they do win it, which they really should, it's going to go to a game 5, which is pretty exciting. Archers forward, nearly enough for a castle. Could even buy the rest for a castle right now. Put it here. Don't need to get too crazy with it, like we've seen in the past. You know, we've got a pretty ambitious castle. You just need to take this gold away. Put pressure on the TC. Exactly. Yes. Takes Two to Mango really learning. Again, I get confused with the teams all the time. I'm not sure who made that really aggressive castle. But this is the optimal space for it. 2 villages, obviously not enough, but more are coming along for the right. We've got Butt formation right now, which is pretty funny. Mangonels come out, so there is potential for a throw. Dead villages. So, throw potential. Definite throw potential. Lots of dead archers. Not quite sure what to do. That castle's gonna have to be deleted, I would say. Gotta keep going for it, but I don't see it. Gives the opportunity to get a counter castle up. This needs to be deleted. It absolutely needs to be deleted. Yes, thank you. Just build it back. Just build it back. You know, I thought that was the optimal space for a castle, but that was a really good response here from Butt5, who've really been on point with their micro and such. Actually, we're going to put a castle here, which I like, actually. I mean, it is really good to take out these reasons. Gonna go super safe with this now, actually. Gonna go for the mining camp first. I mean, luckily he did not. We obviously are nearly up to Imperial for the Portuguese, which is lovely. He did waste a lot of villages on that castle attempt, which was unlucky, to say the least. And we are just hemmed into the base. I mean, if I was these villages, I might try to escape here and get unnoticed, maybe even put a town centre down there. Or even really just try to move to a part of the base where there's part of the map where there's nothing going on. Rather than be trapped back here. Organ guns are out. Villagers being sniped. Mamelukes, obviously a good response. However, the economy is not there to support them. A very expensive unit. And gets sniped by the castle, actually. And once this trebuchet comes out and it can start firing on that castle, it's gonna be pretty tough. Like, you do know there's mangonels still on the floor, right? Your knights are an age away from actually being able to help. This can be driven back. So it is in danger of going down. These knights are on the road to nowhere. These castles, man. And you're really putting the knights in a difficult spot. The house is deleted. The knights are just roaming. I don't know. Dodges the mangonel shots. The knights are just... Oh. I'm having a hard time here. It's not necessary. He's finally through though, but he is going to actually make this happen. You know, Mangonel's too far away now. Could spread the villages out a bit, and actually it's going to potentially... It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch. Just because it didn't need to happen. Especially after what happened with the first castle. Like, the first castle I understand, right? Because you didn't know about the mangonels necessarily. This mangonel getting great shots. You know, this is the exact counter. This is the exact counter to organ guns. And if you split the villages up, rather than have the prime pickings for mangonels, then we're thinking about another castle here. While he's being attacked by Mameluke, I mean, this is insane. It's like a masterclass on wanting to throw the game. Mangonel finally goes down. More villagers come forward. Organ guns galore. And we have thrown away a bit of a villager lead as well. We're still heavily in the lead. Here comes a mangonel. Okay. This mangonel... Oh. Trebuchet goes down. Mangonel is going to be rushed. No, don't hate that at all. Don't hate that at all. But that castle was destroyed. So lost all that stone. You know, it's still going to be pretty hard for Take 2 Mango to lose. However, I would say the execution has been not great, and you know, we're still not producing trips. You know, we need to be producing troops to take down this castle, take down these defenses. You know, Mameluke are gonna try and do a counter raid, and they're gonna find villages, at least on that gold, because there's no No pressure. There's no tricks. So there's no pressure on the base. This allows these counter raids to take place. And there's just nothing in the base. Trev's going to come through shortly. And we do have ballistics and bracer on these TCs, so you know the defense is decent. Mamelukes is back here on this little part of the economy. Where did that extra trip go? I'm not sure. There is one. The villagers walking in the open. Wanting to be killed. Literally begging to be killed. Now that's a level of organ gun I don't want to attack as a Mameluke, that's for sure. But yeah, only going up to Imperial now for the Saracen player. They're not going to be able to hold on for long enough. Castle repairs coming through. Trip might go down, it does, but Saracen camel numbers also go down. And Castle just barely hanging on. And we're not producing organ gun. It's your path to victory. I mean, we are producing Arbalest. We do have 100 villages. Where are these Arbalests? They're back here. So they're not even on the front line. So we're doing everything in our power to keep the enemy into the game right. They're still ultimately going to win. But again, that ability just to harness your position into the win does need some improvement. Like we've gone into Arbalest, now we're going to Cavalier. There's still indecision on the units that we're going for. The enemy is now in past Imperial and can now build their own troops, which they are going to do. Right? So it's just tough. It's really tough. Gold mine at the back here, that's the only gold the enemy has, which is going to be the ultimate problem. And again, organ guns, they're going to be tough to get around. The fact that this castle still remains is a testament to Butt5's perseverance, but also takes to the Mango's lack of decisiveness or commitment to any one particular strategy. And you know, if there's one thing they have committed to, and that is ridiculous castle placements. I mean, it has forced this response, and that response is bad. And it is going to force the game to end. But some of these unnecessary decisions have been interesting. Trev goes down, there's no castle, Mamelukes cannot be produced. We've got 1 million archery ranges, we can produce Hussar, but there's really no pathway back into this game. Once villagers are off that gold, I mean, that's like, are we playing Age of Empires or are we playing World War One? You know, that was like, going over the trenches and being slaughtered. Treb's position is interesting. You might want to take out these Trebs, this town centre first before progressing onwards. But we're continuing this fight. If I was Butts, I would probably know that this game is over, and it's been over for a while. But there we go, there's the GG. Takes to the mango. Take it away. It's 2-2. Great stuff. Jinska says, yeah, sorry, I haven't been paying much attention to the chat. Jinska says, the timing with the mangoes to the line of castle was impeccable. I mean, that is absolutely true. I think they did a wonderful job there. Scrappy, but we'll take it. I mean, you had the strategy. Like, I think in a lot of these situations, you have the strategy, especially in the early game, right? And then some of the execution stuff, you know, can be tightened up. But I mean, this is a hard-fought series by both players and by both teams. And you know, I would probably say this opposite for Butts. I think, you know, the execution is very, very good. But sometimes the strategy can be overlooked a little bit. So remember, this is quarterfinals, so whoever wins this game gets into semis. But we have, this is quarterfinals. This is bracket 4, around 900 elo, 2 apiece in this best of 5. Butts has gone for Magyars on slopes, and we've got Takes 2 to Mango on Berbers. So we're thinking this game's going to be all cavalry. All cavalry. And we should say, actually, as we see this just go forward, I'm just going to flick over very briefly to the draft. Slopes is the Butts pick. So we should maybe preference Butts here. And Magyar is obviously very aggressive on this map. We're obviously going to see a scout rush of some kind, or that's what I'm expecting. But if that rush doesn't have that much effectiveness, or has, you know, a couple villager kills, but Takes 2 to Mango can stabilize, then we might think Berbers in the long run can get an advantage. So I'm going to need to see really well executed scout rush here. Oh, Lemon Toast cast in 50 minutes. So this is perfect. You know, we're the small streamer crew. We're holding it down. No, this is, you know, when you look at the research tab for Age of Empires, or any game really, I stream right in the period of time where it's like the worst stream. It's like right in the trough of where viewership is, and that's because living in Australia, you don't get the American audience, you don't get the European audience. You're kind of in this no man's land. I'm sure, you know, the Asian market are using a different platform to watch games and such. Maybe not on Twitch, who knows? I don't know the Chinese market at all. But that's not why I stream. I stream to have a fun time. I'm here to have a good time. I'm not here to become a streaming savant, you could say. I'm here to cast some community games. But And we've been really loving these two teams. And again, I've been casting these teams since group stage, so it's really cool to see them clash heads finally. But Butts says they're pushing in deer. You have to do this on this map, in my opinion. And we're seeing this from both players. So, you know, sometimes you get a situation, especially if one team knows the map better than the other. One would push deer and the other one won't, and that puts the other team at a really big disadvantage. So it's good to see that both players are pushing the deer, although it looks like Berbers are going to, or Takes Two to Mango is going to start scouting the enemy a little bit, which is fine, and we're going to start walling, which again, against Magyars is a very good decision. Going in for that barracks for Butts, need that as the prerequisite for a stable, but we haven't gone up to feudal yet, so we're going to be a little bit behind. Got 17 on food, which is a lot. And we've got one sheep left, so going to need to transition into a mill at some point too for berries to sustain this. And I'm really loving the foresight here for Takes Two to Mango. I think that's fantastic. Because if you can hold off that scout rush, if you can hold that off, you've won. So you're leaving nothing to chance. Barracks coming through and, you know, adding in a few spearmen to ward that off. You might even decide to go in for the first infantry armor. Sometimes I do that. You know, I don't know if that's a good idea necessarily, but giving your spearmen a little bit more durability against those scouts could be warranted. This is a funny one. Obviously, you only need to wall down here, and this whole back part of your base is all good. But regardless, the walling has been absolutely fine. And we're even into a couple of spearmen, or one spearman. And I think Butts is going to see this and be a little bit discouraged. And what do you do here as Butts? You know, this is the problem I have with Magyar. They're obviously very predictable. If you want to respond to them appropriately, this is what you would do, making sure there's no damage. Like, do you need to do a men-at-arms rush first so that you stop them getting the walls up and then follow up with a scout rush? Your feudal will probably be a little bit behind. Or does it matter? You just keep map control and that's fine. But yeah, this is the problem I have with Magyar, because if you don't get damage, your generic economy is going to struggle against a better economy. And Berbers, I mean, their economy bonus is that their villages move faster, pretty average, or if I'm being honest, below average in terms of an economy bonus. That's how I see it anyway. So maybe you're not actually giving up that much, but their economy bonus is actually that their stable units are cheaper, right? So if they can get the castle and then go into camels, then that'll be tough. And, you know, I see this with Magyar as well. Walling. If you're going to go Magyar, you've got to commit to Magyar things. Just play open. Just play open, play aggressive. invest all of this, like all of this wood, you could be investing into double stables, for instance. I mean, I don't know if that's a wise strategy, but or getting up the castle quicker or whatever. Like, you want to be aggressive and not waste resources on defenses. It's how I kind of look at it. But Spearman out here is getting a few good pokes in. We're getting farms down as well. And it's funny, it's actually the blue scout, the takes to the mango scout that got into the base. So he's going to have a little look around, see what's up. But we are completely walled as butts. We're looking for damage on the upper ponds. Not going to find anything. Very compact. And now it's about keeping them. Oh, there was a hole there this entire time. Don't you hate it when that happens? There's a wall goes down, but leaves two villages outside them. Now they put another wall down, and they're safe. Scout's still inside the base, but yeah, don't you hate that when you wall your entire base and you leave one gap and the enemy finds it? But it's the worst feeling. Meanwhile, I've got villagers idle. In this setting, you should never have villagers idle, just because you've got the actions per minute. You've got the attention of 2 people. But this is a game 5, you know, fatigue can come into play at this point. Really focusing on making sure there's no gaps anymore. Heavy on stone, worth mentioning, going up the castle, we're getting stone mining upgrade. So we could see a castle in front, secure the gold. Could even secure it outside the base because you've got enough spears. They've got 4 spears. And you've scouted what the enemy are up to. More houses. Really committing to the house wall, which is great. A lot of these farms not being used. I guess they've been taken off farms to go onto stone, that being the more important priority right now, and they can always go on farms again later. But I really like this for Takes to the Mango. The scout rush hasn't worked. You're in castle, and you have enough stone. Bomb that castle down. I'm glad that it's a defensive castle. I was a little bit scared for a second that he might think of an offensive castle, which could work, but okay, he is going to get ballsy with it. But just remember, you only have 2 spears guarding it. I don't think it's going to matter, but that is risky. That was incredibly risky. I have a camel coming through now, so that's a little more secure. I'd like having more units is good. And there's no way this can be denied. Camels attacking scouts. That's going to be a bloodbath. We're thinking crossbow as Magyars. Why not cab archer? Oh no. Oh no. Why not cat? I guess maybe they're scared off because of the camel archer, which is great against cav archer actually. So maybe that's the rationale, but if that's the rationale, why go into archery range units at all? Just go into camels. Yeah, overchop. Want to play a team game after casting? Oh, I've been letting my good friend Grape Juice down for so long on team games. I've either been casting, I've been putting YouTube videos together, I've been working, I've been, you know, doing family stuff. I've been competing in Scrappy Lemons League where I have to play against other people and I can't play on Grape Juice's team. You know, so time and time again I've had to say no, which I feel bad about. And I'm gonna have to say no again, Grape Juice, because it's gonna be past midnight. And I can't let my better half down in the morning with the baby duties in the morning. She would not like that. So many apologies. But I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. At some point, I'll be like, yes, team game. I'm in. Whenever me and Grape Juice play a team game as well, we absolutely wipe the floor with the opposition. I think we've won like 4 team games in a row. So we're killing it. We're absolutely killing it. And if there's a team tournament coming up, it has to be me and Grape Juice. The track record is there. The teamwork is there. Coordination. If anything, we should have been competing in Dual Domination. I think we would have done well. But we're looking at double TCs for Magyars. They are behind in villages currently. Only 1 TC for Berbers. However, we're definitely on the offensive. Cav archers, you know, camel archers against crossbow. You know, maybe that's a good decision. Maybe I'm wrong. Because I think Magyars, they obviously get Arbalists, they get all the upgrades on their crossbows. But you are against Mangonels. That's going to be tough. Oh, and that is absolutely devastating. I saw a bit of split micro happen there, but fell right into a shot. And I don't think there's any way to win the game now that half the crossbow mass has been taken out. More mangonel shots incoming. More dead archers. Dead knights on the camel archer. And I think Takes 2 to Mango might have just secured this game with some pretty good mangonel play. And we're thinking about cheeky walls to stop camel archers running through. Very Viper-esque. However, unlike Viper, it hasn't worked. This mangonel could go down. There is a repair villager there though. We're sticking to the 1 TC back home and committing to the push. Camel archers can come around the back here. Mangonels should be targeting those archers, of course. But these camel archers on the back taking out villages, that's going to be tough to overcome. You know, the villager leaders now more. I think we were thinking about the castle for a bit, but now that's going to be on pause. Villager numbers keep going down. Archery ranges nearly taken out. Even got some scorpions here for archers. A lot of dead archers. Economy is very restricted. This archer mass, which I hesitate to call a mass because there's not many of them. Not much space to work with and not going to be effective against siege. Taken off gold. No archery ranges left, apart from this one at the back. Nothing being produced in it. I think they're in shock. They're thinking about ways to turn this around, but I don't see it. I mean, if you've come this far, you definitely have to take your time to think about if there is a way to come back, but this game's further and further out of reach as the seconds go by. And with 3 mangonels on town centers, not a strategy I associate Berbers with. It's a siege push, but it's working to perfection. And that town center is down. GG's called on the side. Takes 2 to Mango. Goes up 3-2. Very well played. A few extra villager kills in there. Well done. Very well done. Really hard fought game. And like I said, I think Butt5 are the one who chose slopes and chose the Magyar aggressive style on this map. But it wasn't to be. Was not to be. And as is so often, you can just wall, keep the scouts out, wait until late game, and then the Berbers really shine, or the mid game. I mean, I don't think Berbers are necessarily good late games, but in terms of the mid game, the discount on stable units and just their knight play in general, or stable play in general, it's just very good. And, you know, the camel archer keeping the Magyars off the cav archer alone, that's a huge strategy.